Yeah, so we were at dinner during game one, and like I got home like around halftime, and I've been rewatching Last Chance U, like the football seasons, not the basketball ones.
Oh, dude, that
Um
coach was a psycho.
yeah, Jason Brown,
I think he
the
got arrested.
no, I don't think so. He just
I
does a
I'm
podcast now.
I'm pretty
You can
sure
look
he
that
got
up. You can
arrested.
fact check that. But I've been like rewatching the show, and like my dad was like, "Yo, I'm gonna throw the game on probably up here because we don't have live TV right now. We've been watching it on like the TNT like channel and stuff like that, like on the Fire Stick." And I checked my phone and I looked at it, and like Indiana was down like 15 or 18 or something like that, and I was just like, "I'm going to watch Last Chance U downstairs." And then I check my phone because it's blowing up because all my teammates are all texting like about the game, and like I check my phone and then I'm like, oh my god, like I have to put this on right now. So I like run over to my computer. I'm texting you because you're not watching it either, I don't think. And I'm like, this is a game again. And I'm like throwing up Stream East like on my computer while I'm like checking my phone to like watch the game cast. And like I get it on and it's like a minute and a half left. Sure thing. Tyrese Halliburton ices it with zero point 0.3 seconds left on the clock
So
again.
so I was eating dinner with my girlfriend's family, and my phone is just like buzzing in my pocket, and I'm like, what is? There's only one person this could be, and it could only mean one thing. So I look at my phone, and you're like, this is a game again, and I literally didn't even know the score of the game, and I I went, and there was like 16 seconds left, and the Pacers had the ball with a chance to win. I flicked the game on, and the only thing I saw was the Pacers in half court with 7 seconds left, and the Tyrese Halliburton shot. We were sitting at the dinner table, and I went, "What?" Everyone's like, "What is your problem?" Like, sorry, guys.
Second time meeting the parents, get out of the house.
yeah, yeah. I slept in the
Getting kicked
garage.
out on time too. But ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of the Corner Office here. We're going to do a little bit of an NBA recap. We're going to talk about the NBA Finals, our thoughts going into Game 3, and then we're just going to kind of spitball on some of the things that we've been seeing in the news a little bit and, have some fun with it. As always, I'm Alex Penders.
And I'm Jack Byrne.
And yeah, I mean, we're going to just get right into it. Obviously, we have Game 3 on the horizon. We watched Game 2 the other night. I actually did sit down and watch this one because Game 1 was so electric that like you kind of had to. And Jack and I exchanged some thoughts after Game 1, and we were both kind of like, we expect OKC to come out and roll. And that's kind of what they did from start to finish in this one. I mean, their guard play was just so strong. Like they were, defensively doing exactly what we kind of expected. And I'm still holding out the fact that I think that OKC probably gets this done within 6 games. But that being said, it's a way different series now. You know what I mean? Especially losing the way they did in Game 1. So I just wanted to get your thoughts on, the series going into Game 3 and what you think they're going to see in Indiana.
Yeah, obviously Game 2 we expected the Thunder to come out and kind of dominate. That's pretty much what they did, as you mentioned, and it was more so than the stat line said. I mean, the stat line was only a 16-point game, but it was really felt like a lot more than that.
Yeah.
But just to recap the first 2 games, obviously Indiana goes in, hits a game-winning shot on the road in the whatever the center is called now, the Thunder play in, but it's a very difficult place to go on the road, especially in such a high stakes game. With they're one of those stadiums where everyone wears the T-shirt, which is awesome.
Yep. We've voiced our love for that before on the show, I'm sure.
But to go in there and win was awesome, and they did it in a style that we talked about in our last episode, which was the Pacers role players showed up, made some, impactful minutes. And they had 6-7 guys in double digits, which is, kind of their key to winning. And then in Game 2, Thunder kind of just came out. Chet Holmgren had a good game. Shea obviously was doing MVP stuff, not only scoring, but also passing and rebounding. He just looked like himself out there. So going into Game 3, it goes back to the Gainbridge Fieldhouse in Indiana. And after watching the first 2 games, you expect them to split here, right? This feels like a series now that is not slated so heavily in one way. It feels like one where it could really go the distance.
Yeah, I think it really depends on Game 3 in particular. OKC played basically a perfect 3 quarters of basketball in the first game, and then completely forgot that Indiana is doing black magic in the locker room and can come back with however many minutes left in the fourth quarter. Game 2, they kind of weathered that storm. You know what I mean? They built enough of a lead to where it was like, okay, like there's a little run at the end maybe, but it's not nearly enough. I think the biggest storyline from Game 2 is like Tyrese Halliburton cannot play like a role player for 3 quarters and then turn it on in the fourth. You know what I mean? Like there are games with him where he just isn't that guy. Like he is in the last, he's always that guy in the fourth. He's always the guy that you want to go to. But like he's going into halftime with like 4, 5, and 4 on the stat line, and you're like, where are you? You know what I mean? You're supposed to be the leading scorer. You're supposed to be the star of this team, right? And I mean, I think that's the biggest thing. And to be honest with you, like when you get outscored by Aaron Wiggins and Alex Caruso, right? Like no one scored more than those two guys on the Pacers. Like you're going to be in for a rough night. You know what I mean? Like Shea's obviously going to have his 30 and whatever. And I think J-Dub played his best game of the series so far. But yeah, I mean, like you can't expect to like play like a role player for 30 minutes and win a game, especially when no one on offense is clicking. Now that being said, like we had our doubts about OKC against the guard heavy defense, right? Like that was the biggest thing was like, will they be able to break pressure? Will they be able to attack the paint? OKC loves to pack the paint. They love to allow kick out threes and then guard that way. You know, they want to be really sound like that. And I mean, they did well to weather it in game 1, right? I mean, we said that we think that there's going to be a game in the 90s at some point during the series. I still think that's true. But to be honest with you, like, I think that game 1 was a clear indication of like a game that the Pacers are going to win where they hold OKC under a certain number of points. Because if OKC is scoring over 120 points a game, like it's going to be tough to beat them the way that they defend.
Well, but by the same token, if the Pacers are scoring 120 a game, they're probably going to win. Like if it's an offensive shootout, they're probably going to win.
I agree.
And I think what you mentioned about the guard play is true. I think that if you're a non-biased fan in this finals, you are hoping that OKC did not figure out the Pacers offense after game 1.
Correct.
And you're hoping that they can come out and still have a competitive series.
Mm-hmm.
But as you mentioned, I mean, when guys like Alex Caruso and Aaron Wiggins play the way that they did, I mean, those are just guys that you aren't really offensively game planning for.
Right.
And you really shouldn't be. So they are a hard team to beat when they do that. So, I mean, if you're the Pacers, I think the key is, honestly, I think the key is limiting the other guys. I mean, Shea's going to get his 30 regardless. He's done it all year.
Mm-hmm.
But if you can limit those other guys and kind of put them in difficult scenarios, then they're going to maybe have a hard time. But again, the Pacers aren't known for defense, they're known for offense.
That's not what they do, yeah.
And I think the point that you made about Halliburton is kind of the one that sticks out. I mean, we know that he is going to effectively disappear for periods of this series. And I think that it's good that he got one of them out of the way in game 2. I think that no one really expected them to win game 2.
Agreed.
So for the Pacers, the key to their offense is running it through Halliburton again and also getting guys like Pascal Siakam scoring and then, you know, continually involving those role players. That's the way that they win. So if they're going to be successful in game 3 and even game 4, they're going to have to do that.
Yeah, I don't disagree. I think that that's the same way. I mean, this finals kind of eerily reminds me of the finals. I think it was 2001, where Allen Iverson was playing of the Lakers. It was either 2001 or I think it was 2001.
01.
Where they win game 1 and it's kind of a shock to everyone that they did that, and then they lose 4 straight games like by double digits because it felt like they ran out of steam, you know? And I just really hope that for this Pacers team, like the magic isn't gone. You know what I mean? Like they had so much momentum coming into this series, but at the same time, like to continually rely on these big time shots at the end of games, like yes, it's entertaining and yes, it makes for a good watch, but when was the last time that you were comfortable as a Pacers fan watching a game?
That's part of the magic of watching them, right?
I know.
You're not comfortable.
You can't think about it. Like, you can't think of one. You know what I mean? Like, every single game is an absolute nail-biter, and it's just, I don't know if it's sustainable, especially against the team with the second highest net rating in NBA history.
Yeah, it's not sustainable, but that's why they're playing so well. They're a hot and cold team, and they're blazing hot coming into the series. You just hope that they don't go cold. And winning game 1 was so important for this Pacers team. Because if they're down 0-2 right now, the series is over.
Correct. I do think that this does extend the series to another game. I initially had OKC in 5. I'm now pushing it back to 6.
But I don't think it would be ridiculous to see this series go 7.
Yeah, it's true.
I mean,
Um,
3 wins is a lot more for the Pacers to get. It's a lot more, and it's not that much more for the Thunder. I don't know if that analogy makes sense, but
no, I get that.
it's a much harder 3 games to win for the Pacers. But
Agreed.
if they can, I mean, you expect them to split. If in some way they win both at home, then
Mhm.
the series definitely goes 7, and the Pacers are favored in, right? So, I think you're right. This definitely extended the series for sure.
Yeah, I agree. I think you're right. I think they need to get one at home because obviously, like, if this series goes back to OKC 3-1, it's over. You know what I mean? Like, that just is what it is. And you hope that that game comes in Game 3, in my opinion.
Yeah,
I
for
hope
sure.
that OKC comes out and wins Game 3. Or I mean,
The
Indiana
Pacers,
comes out
yeah.
and wins Game 3. Because I think that that not only extends the series, but it also, like, it gives you a sense of confidence to where, like, you're like, okay, 2-1 is different, in my opinion, for the Pacers because I think it levels out this series a little bit. But I'm interested to see what happens. I mean,
I still think there's a game in here where the Pacers win comfortably by 15.
I don't know.
I still think there's one game where the Pacers come out and they just play blazing hot offense, which we actually haven't seen so far,
Correct.
and put up 130 points and beat the Thunder by 15.
I mean, the
Other
Thunder
than that, I
have been
think-
susceptible to that this year. You know what I mean?
Certainly.
Especially in the Nuggets series. Like that has been a thing where they've just kind of came out and put up a goose egg. And I think that, again, I'm going to say Game 3 again because I think that that is the game where it needs to happen for Indiana. Because, I mean, dude, think of the momentum that you have going into Game 4 on your home court.
If you're up 3-1. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
It's a different series at that point. It's a different series.
Yeah, it's an incredibly influential Game 3. So, do you think, you already mentioned, do you think you have the Thunder in 6? Is there a reality where you see the series going 7, or do you think that they wrap it up pretty soon?
I think that there is a reality to where this series goes 7. But that being said, like, it would have to be 2-2 going back to OKC, and then it would have to take a miracle to me for the Indiana Pacers to win either games 5 or 6. You know what I mean? Like, I don't see them winning in OKC, and I don't see them, if it's a 3-2 series, winning at home against OKC. So, I mean, I don't think this series goes 7. I think I would love to see it go 7. But I don't know. I think that, and I also think that if this series goes 7, it's a death sentence for the Pacers more so than anything else. Because I don't see them winning. I just don't see them winning 4 games in this series.
Yeah, I mean, I guess we'll see. I've said that about the Pacers in every series so far, and they've proved me wrong every single time. So they're a really hard team to bet against right now, especially with a coach like Rick Carlisle, who,
Correct.
I mean, he's rising in the all-time winning records in terms of all coaches ever. I think he's like number 8 or something like that right now.
Yep.
And he also is known for taking these teams that shouldn't go far and bringing them to success. I mean, people forget that before he led the Mavericks to arguably the biggest NBA Finals win of all time, he also coached a Indiana Pacers team before this one that was in the Eastern Conference Finals and then was ruined by the malice at the Palace. But before that happened, they were championship favorites, right? So, I mean, he has an incredibly high coaching pedigree, and Mark Daigneault just doesn't quite have that. So, I mean, I definitely think that will play a factor in the series at some point.
I agree.
All right, moving on. Let's talk a little college basketball.
Sure.
What's going on with the whole expanding the NCAA tournament?
I really don't know. I mean, the simplest answer is money, right? Like, you get more teams in there, you have more weekends of games, you're making more money to do that. I just think that, for anybody who doesn't know, there have been conversations. Former Massachusetts Governor Charlie Baker is the head of the NCAA.
What?
I mean, I swear to God. Which is a really strange career choice it's a weird move. But so they've been discussing doing this for a couple of years now, and they're saying that there could be a change to the tournament bracket style coming in as soon as 2026, which would mean that we would have it next year, which to me is just, I mean, I don't know why you'd mess with a good thing, first and foremost. You went from 64 teams to 68, and I get that, right? The ins and outs, I actually kind of like having those 2 games.
Certainly.
Or having those 4 games before the tournament starts. But, like, at some point, you're just expanding the game for no reason. And it kind of feels like, this whole, like, bubble thing that we've kind of, like, been super drawn to before the tournament even starts, it's kind of out of the window. You know what I mean? Because all these bubble teams are now getting it, and I don't love that as much. And of course, you're pushing the bubble back, but like, I don't see the need for it. I don't see the need for messing with the best thing in college basketball, probably the best thing in college sports right now.
It's arguably the best thing in sports.
Correct.
Right?
I love it so much. And
So
as much as I would love to watch more basketball, I just don't think it's needed.
yeah, I mean, this feels like one of those things where you just don't touch it because it's so historically the same
Correct.
thing, right? Like
Correct.
if you look at let's take the MLB playoffs, for example. They added games in the wild card to make it a real series instead of a one-game playoff. And I think that is a fantastic move for baseball.
Okay.
Right? It's like there's certain things where you could tweak it and it would make it better.
Yeah, well, the 12-team college football playoff, too.
Exactly.
Right? Like, that was a
perfect example, right? It was wildly successful. This feels like one of those things that you just don't touch. Like, it's sacred. It's a tradition that has been very long-standing. To me, you just don't touch it. So I'm pretty against this as well.
I mean, I think the coaches are in favor of it, especially the Power Fives, because like,
well, yeah, because if you're like a Missouri or like a what's like a really middling Power Five team, right? Like you want
Kansas
to get into
State.
the tournament. Yeah, exactly. Like one of those teams, like you want to get into the tournament because it's easier, but also that makes it so much less special once you get in. Right? Like we see all these, it takes all the magic out of first round games if you're having all these bubble teams come in and then have no chance in the first round.
Right. And also like, I think that like with the rise of like tournaments like the Crown, even maybe even the NIT, right, where you're now paying teams like Nebraska won $500,000, playing in the Crown. Like I don't know why you wouldn't expand that if you're trying to expand a tournament. You know what I mean?
And
like,
you
that
should,
makes a lot of sense.
That was the worst tournament I've ever watched in my life.
Horrible. Yeah, GW was in that, right?
Yeah, GW was in it. They got rolled, which everyone suspected that they would. And but I remember we were in DC and we were watching like the semifinal of that game, and it was in T-Mobile Arena in Vegas, which is a giant arena, and there were literally 14 people in the stands, and it was like the semifinal.
We'll talk about another issue with adding more teams, right? You already have an attendance issue with selling tickets for entire days worth of these games, right? Like you can go to a venue and you can stay there all day, which I would love. You know what I mean? Yeah. I think that would be awesome. But people don't do that. You know what I mean? So you already have an attendance issue for some of these games, especially like your 16 seed versus your 1 seed games. And now you're adding more games on top of that. It just feels like a weak move in my opinion. I get why they're doing it. Like I get financially why you're doing it, but to me it's just like, why are we messing with the most, like you said, the most sacred thing in college sports?
Yeah, I don't think that this would be a hit at all. It would be like part of March Madness being so special is being able to watch 16 games in one day. Right? Yeah. And they're all competitive.
Right.
You lose that if you add another 12 teams or however many they're looking to add.
Yeah. I agree.
Dude, I think that MMA is such a sport where it has waves of it being like the most fun thing on the planet to watch, and I get so excited to watch every card. And then it goes in lulls for like a year and a half where every card I just don't care about. And I think that we're in one of those right now.
I think that across the board, like, I mean, I'm always like a little bit in tune, you know what I mean? Like I'll stream East a fight or two. I'm not paying for it. You know what I mean? Never paying for it. But like, yeah, at this point, like you're looking around at some of the champions, like most of my favorite guys like aren't champions anymore. Like I loved Alex Pereira. He's not a champion anymore. Like Sean O'Malley just lost his, he had a bout the other day. I actually like Merab pretty much. But I'm not like a Dagestan guy.
No, me neither.
Like, I'm not
kind
like
of boring.
A huge like Khabib fan or anything like that. So like, I get that like these guys are entertaining and whatnot, but like I'm just not super into it right now.
We need more guys that throw like wicked leg kicks. Like Charles Oliveira, when he was a champion, was so fun to watch. And like when like the Izzy Pereira fights were so fun to watch.
Dude, yeah, that's like that's what we want.
They're just these fights are just it's like one fan favorite and then a Dagestani that kicks their ass in the third round, right? Like, and that's just like we all know it's gonna happen, so why even watch? But we need to bring back the fights where it's like really like even out of the ring, anything could happen. They could get into a fight after the fight, possibly.
Yeah.
We need that.
Yeah, and that's not me saying bring McGregor back because he's a piece of garbage, but like at the same time, like
bring him back, dude.
It's pretty entertaining.
If he came back, I would consider paying for a card.
I wouldn't disagree. Have you seen the on the same subject, like the John Jones thing? like where he's like not fighting because he doesn't want to like lose the belt to this kid Tom Aspinall. Like that makes me mad too.
Tom Aspinall is pretty fun to watch.
I would watch him fight, dude. I'd
Yeah.
watch him fight John
I would
Jones. But
love
the
that
fact that
fight.
he's not like that's not happening. Like
No, but I'm
it's
kind of
frustrating.
excited that John Jones won't get back in the ring because everyone looks at. Obviously, you separate the athlete from the things that they do off the field, right?
Yeah.
In the ring or in the octagon, everyone looks at John Jones like the scariest guy on the planet. And if he came out like Mike Tyson did against Jake Paul and literally just like sucked wind for 4 rounds and then got his ass kicked, everyone would look at him and be like, "Nah, I might be able to go around with Johnny. I might be able to get around in with him."
Yeah, you don't want the Jake Paul. You don't want the Jake Paul John Jones fight. That's what we should talk about, actually.
Man, that will happen. By the way, that is going to happen. In what year will the Jake Paul John Jones fight happen?
Who is the next fighter that Jake Paul is going to somehow miraculously take a dive for them?
Who is the next senior citizen that Jake Paul is going to fight?
He's going to fight. He's going to fight Rampage Jackson at 52.
He's going to fight Dominique Wilkins. That dude will do anything but fight a boxer.
Jake Paul versus Ocho Cinco.
Oh my god, that would sell a whole stadium out. Shannon Sharp versus Stephen A would sell the stadium out.
I think Stephen A was actually supposed to fight someone.
Nah, that's crazy.
I don't know what it was. Stephen A versus LeBron.
Stephen A versus LeBron.
Winner gets brawny.
No, dude, you know what would actually sell out a stadium? Shannon Sharp versus Skip Bayless. Get in the octagon.
Oh my god. That would
10-round fight.
Skip would be dead in round
Bare
4.
knuckle. That would be so fun, though.
Yeah, 80 million people tune into Netflix to watch Skip Bayless die on live TV.
I would What's the most amount of money you'd pay to watch Jake Paul fight Shannon Sharp?
I would pay for a pay-per-view for that, like whatever it is, 60. I would have to buy it for $60, however much it was.
I think that I would find like 5 friends and I'd spend like $25 with each of them to get that card.
I wouldn't disagree with that. I think that would probably be the worst $25 you've ever spent. But like just
that's why you're doing
happening.
It, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that would be sweet. Dude, let's switch over to baseball. Did you see that the Red Sox are mediocre this year? I think that we all know that. They've kind of been wildly disappointing, and today they just called up Roman Anthony. But
yeah, I don't know what that means. I think is he a prospect that like is he going to do the Jackson Holiday thing where you go like 3 for 34 and
no, because Jackson Holiday got called up immediately.
Okay,
he has been playing in the minors for like 2 or 3 years now, and he rakes.
Isn't
dude.
He 21.
He hit a 500-foot grand slam the other day.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah. So I'm excited to watch him.
Okay.
And really like this Red Sox team kind of feels like they did maybe in like 2015 or 2014 when we called up Mookie Betts and Jackie Bradley Jr. and Andrew Benintendi, and we had all these young guys who were just kind of learning how to play baseball.
Was that when we really had like the bad contract of like Pablo Sandoval and stuff like that, and you just hated
it was pre Pablo Sandoval, post Carl Crawford.
Okay.
So we had some bad contracts going.
Yeah.
But this team's bad, and I think that we all know that. But contrary to past years, we've actually got guys to be excited about, even though they're bad.
Yeah.
So that is awesome. I mean,
Christian
Campbell, Jarren Duran, Roman Anthony, and Marcelo Meyer are all really fun to watch.
Mm-hmm. What position is Rafael Devers playing? Because I mean,
he's still designated hitting.
Okay, the old white community is not happy with Rafael Devers right now,
which was gonna happen regardless. Regardless of the position he played, they're gonna find something to be upset about. But no, he just won Player of the Month in May, and he just rakes, dude. He just hits that baseball.
Yeah, he's a perfect DH. I don't know why he wasn't.
I know why was he so upset about playing DH? He was a mediocre third baseman on his day, and all he wants to do is chew bubblegum and dip and rake. And I think that's the exact guy that I want.
He was a bad third baseman. On his day, he was not making errors.
That's what I'm saying. On his perfect day was a routine ground ball. So I don't know why he was so upset about that.
Yeah, I saw Bregman bring back like the victory stat. Didn't he shave during? That's what he did. He shaved during a game or something like that. That's all I've like seen. He had like a stash going, and then like he went to the dugout or the clubhouse, and he like shaved during the game, and then came back out trying to shift the mojo a bit, I guess.
Oh, that's strange. Why did he do that?
I don't know, because he's weird, and I mean he can't hear the banging of trash cans, even though.
Okay, don't hate.
Alex
that's our
Cora,
guy.
maybe bring that back. You know,
that's our guy, dude. You can't hate on him. He was also having a great season before he got hurt. So rest up, ice up.
Who was the pitcher? Who was
that's what I'm trying to look up right now. It was literally some like random guy that I had effectively never heard of before.
Because we need more stuff like that. One of the Red Sox pitchers came out and he was like, "I would rather retire than ever play for the Yankees if they were like the last contract I had."
Blank check, lifetime contract.
I think that
and then he shoved against the Yankees.
Yeah, he played well.
He played really well.
I think that baseball
Hunter Dobbins is his name.
Hunter Dobbins, of course. Right. How could I forget? Despite the fact that the kids of the 99 are starving, you know, like it's like kind of, you know,
no one's going to get that joke. No one else is going to get that joke. All our listeners are like, why aren't they talking about SGA? Dude, the kids are starving. Cora, please. One order of mozzarella sticks, please. I remember going to see my grandparents. We'd be locked in on the Red Sox game. The second that Jonathan Papelbon threw that final pitch and we got the save, we would be in that car on the way to the 99, dude.
Always a real deal. Always a real deal. So, yeah, but post 99 shout, like, we need to bring back some of this rivalry stuff into baseball. I feel like the Yankees-Red Sox rivalry, it kind of peaked with, like, Jason Varitek sticking his glove in the dude's face. It hasn't really been the same way since then. And, you know, you just hope that can, like, get back to that. And I love stuff like that. I love stuff like Hunter Dobbins, a guy I'd never heard of, saying some stuff like that. I love a guy like Joe Kelly. Just this is the last.
Dude,
Yankees,
when was
Red
the
Sox
last time? When was the last time you watched a baseball fight and was like, "I'm glad that I watched that"?
Joe Kelly. When
it was
he threw
Joe
at
Kelly, right?
The guy slammed the bat on the ground, and he goes,
"Come on!"
And then he starts charging at him. Charging at him, and he like starts like loading up like this. And then
baseball fights hit a great prime in the early 2010s.
Yeah, they did.
When Bryce Harper like tried to throw his helmet at the dude on the Padres and whiffed no one throws punches in the MLB better than Nolan Arenado. That guy's just out there ready to throw haymakers.
Odor Batista was in the 2020s as well.
No, you know what it was? It was when Jose Ramirez knocked out Tim Anderson on the field.
Was that in the 2010s?
No, that was like 2 years ago.
Yeah,
that was the last time I watched a baseball fight and was like, that was awesome.
Down goes Anderson.
Because that didn't just like Tim Anderson was not only knocked out consciously, but he was also knocked out of the MLB. That guy has not played since.
Really?
He's barely played. He's signed with the Marlins, and he's been
bad.
Since.
You know, the last time that I was excited to watch a baseball game was Tim Anderson, like that Tim Anderson's White Sox team, during the Field of Dreams game.
Against
2 years ago, which was insane.
Awesome. It's on the Angels now. He played 65 games last year and hit 214. Now he's hitting 205 with the Angels. So he's effectively knocked out of the league. If you're on the Angels right now and your name isn't Mike Trout, you are cooked.
I think he called himself the next Jackie Robinson as well. So that's aged well. You know, maybe don't do that. But what was
I'm like Jackie Robinson, except my only historical significance is getting knocked out at second base.
And I can't hit.
And two all-star appearances during COVID.
Yeah. Well, there was another fight. The Cincinnati Reds closer like ran at the Chicago Cubs bench.
Ran at the whole dugout.
That was pretty sick.
Yeah, that was pretty awesome.
But yeah, when a baseball fight like gets cracking, like it's pretty cool. I think it's pretty cool.
It's pretty cool because nothing really happens. It's just like 85 guys on a field. Like, who's gonna do it? And then someone does it, and everyone's like, "Oh, he did it!" It's like a lunch table middle school fight.
Yeah. But I think I'm excited to get really into baseball this summer when I have nothing else to do and get really mad that the Red Sox aren't as good as they should be.
I think that that's part of like we've grown up, we've watched some good Red Sox teams. We've been very happy with the amount of championships that we've won.
They have
And
been
then we've
horrible
gone
for the
we've
past
gone
few
through
years.
some bad years, and
Yeah.
now as we get older, we should really channel our New England anger and just like find something to be upset about every single game. Like we could win 21-0 and our pitcher could throw a perfect game and we'd still be like, yeah, dude, I don't really know if Cora's doing the right thing with Devas. I think we got to give the kid more minutes. Calling it a Felger and Maz.
Yeah, seriously. Hey, Felga.
Just let Felger say the worst sports take of all time. Yeah, the Celtics should move on from Jason Tatum, right?
Felga, I just got off the construction site. I'm driving back to my family in Medford.
I'm in Walpole.
Can you hear me? Like, yeah, no, good stuff. But we probably will get super into baseball. And this is just that's gonna be the show from now on. Like, it's just gonna be the two of us, like, sounding like we just got off the construction site after a 14-hour shift. Like,
it's gonna be us sounding like we're drinking and driving, calling into the show. like Drake May is Tom Brady. All right, let's move on. Aaron Rodgers went to the Steelers.
dumb.
I didn't even really care about that.
Yeah, I didn't clock that either.
What does this mean for the Steelers? Are they going to be a 10-win team?
Did they sign Justin Fields?
No.
They didn't. Is he where is he?
No, he went.
He's in the Jets. He's in the Jets, right?
Yeah, he is on the Jets,
Yeah,
and
okay.
he's QB1 on the Jets now.
Yeah.
Why didn't they just did a 1-for-1 trade?
Yeah, I don't really know why they did that. Aaron Rodgers is going to be bad, first and foremost. Secondly, he came back and like has a wedding ring. Okay, I saw a comment on.
It's an ayahuasca ring. It's like the oral ones that pump caffeine, but it's like pumping like medicinal hallucinogens into your system.
I saw a comment. I'm gonna try and find it. It was on it was on SportsCenter when they like announced that he was married. Hold on, give me 2 seconds here.
Danica Patrick, you are divorced.
Yeah, you think Schefter's gonna break that midseason?
Aaron Rodgers has a crazy GoDaddy NIL package right now.
Really?
You're an idiot.
No, word. I wasn't paying attention. I was just responding to what you said, to be honest with you.
Yeah, that was clear. I mean, now the Steelers don't have George Pickens. They have Najee Harris, who's mediocre. I can't even really tell you who's on their team right now besides that.
Yeah, the top. I found it. Yeah, but they have DK, right?
Oh, yeah, they do have DK. Yeah, no, that'll be sweet.
So, I mean, get ready to go 10-7.
Yeah. Steelers fans, you guys ready for a 10-7 season?
The comment says...
Say steel curtain if you want to lose in the first round.
Rodgers would show up with a ring, say, I'm married, then clarify that a month later by saying, I'm married to the game, the media misunderstood me. I felt like that was a perfect depiction of Aaron Rodgers' character. But that being said, I am interested to see who and what decided to marry him, and where that's going to take him in the new season. You think you're going to hit a Google search? I don't know if you're going to find them on the Google search. I think they would have been like Aaron Rodgers marries blank. What do you
Shailene Woodley.
Oh, you found
it. This can't be right. No. He secretly married earlier this year to a woman named Brittany.
Okay. That's
I don't
not
care.
really.
I'm going to close this. I don't care. I couldn't care less. Sorry, Aaron. I hope you retire soon. You are so hard to watch.
For his own sake, dude. Like, he has a legacy to preserve. I don't really want to see him go out sad. But
dude, you know what he's about to do? You know what he's about to do? He's about to take like 35 million Missouri residents' like taxpayer money and put it towards a private volleyball court.
He's gonna Brett Favre it.
He's gonna Brett Favre it. He's about to BF the shit out of his post career.
Yeah, sick.
You watched the Nations League final.
I did.
Is it crazy? I mean, you texted me this, and at first I was like, "There's absolutely no way. Like, I won't even hear you out about that." And then I started listening, and I was like, "Dude, Ousmane Dembele seriously could win the Ballon d'Or.
He could. Yeah,
he seriously could."
I think if Yamal won with Spain, it was kind of a done deal. But Nuno Mendes like kind of pocketed him in this, and obviously not winning the UCL was like kind of a big thing. But I mean, it is like it's cool to have it be competitive. You know what I mean? Like you have Dembele, you have Yamal, who I think is the favorite. Mo Salah, who didn't really do himself very many favors like domestically. Like they could have won the Carabao or the FA Cup or something, and gotten him another trophy aside from just
and Barcelona beat them in the
correct. Yep.
Champions League.
Rafinha is up there as well. I think he had like 50 goals this season in all competitions. So like,
what's crazy? I was working I've been working like tryouts for the soccer club here, and there's a kid there yesterday who said his top 3 players of all time were Neymar, Lamine Yamal, and Vinicius Jr., which is just the worst list I've ever heard in my life. But at the same time, if I were a coach, I'd be like, you on the team.
Yeah.
You could be tripping over your shoelaces. I would be like, I want you. You're going to score, and you're going to be in the back Brazilian dancing like, wow.
Whatever you have, we need some of that. Like,
yeah.
It's a crazy list. Dude, I remember Rafinha at Leeds United.
He was so good, dude.
He was good, but like at the same time, you didn't expect him to be a Ballon d'Or candidate for Barcelona.
No. Yeah, no.
Dude, that was the raw freedom ball period where they had like 5 America players on the roster.
Yeah,
and like,
they did. And Patrick Bamford.
Who was the manager? It was Jesse Marsh, I think. I think it was Jesse Marsh. I think that was their manager. And he was just like the most like, boot it down the field and go get it coach of all time.
Which was awesome. The Prem needs more of that.
No,
but shout out Ousmane Dembele. I would like to see him win the Ballon d'Or because he was the most hated guy in the world for a long
Barcelona,
time.
Right?
Yeah, he played for Barcelona for like 5 or 6 years and was hurt for all of them. He played almost no games and then went to PSG and turned into a stud. Like he only missed like 5 games this season, which rocks. And he's just so fun to watch when he's healthy.
Right. I agree.
How does this Ronaldo Nations League move the needle on the Ronaldo Messi talk? It'll always be Messi because of the World Cup, but at what point do we actually start reintroducing that again? Is it if he goes back to Europe and is successful? Even if it's like a Galatasaray?
He's 40. Like, I don't really know how much more successful
Ronaldo.
He can be. But at the same time, like, what does a success look like? Like winning the Turkish league? I don't know.
Didier Drogba did that.
It's cool.
So did Radamel Falcao when he was old, and like that actually adds to your legacy.
No, I agree. I just don't think that you're going to overcome the World Cup.
I think that even the Turkish league, winning like even the Turkish league, is a step above MLS. Like that,
it's not even close. It's not even close. Yeah. I mean, I would take. I think I would take every league in Europe over.
No, I wouldn't take like every significant league. Every league that sends, with maybe minus the Russian Ukrainian league.
I think I would take the championship over the MLS.
Yeah, no, I think I would too. But if you even take if you take like just the Russian league out of it, every league that sends people to the Champions League is a better trophy than the MLS.
Fair. I didn't even know that I don't really know any Russian league teams, to be honest with you.
There's a team from Kiev that's incredibly good.
Okay.
Comparatively. But I mean, I think that winning the Nations League actually does move the needle because, I mean, he really turned Portugal back into a legitimate threat.
Well, they never won an international title before him, and now they have 3 of them, right? You have 2 Nations leagues and a Europa League, and a Euro.
They might have won something with Eusebio.
It's worth a fact check. It's not worth a conversation as to who's a better all-time player. I don't think. And maybe even it is. Like I think that once Messi won the World Cup, it's kind of the same way that I feel about LeBron breaking the point record. It's just like it's so
just kind of different. Yeah, I agree. No, I agree.
It's so untouchable at that point.
But it is a clear one too.
Yeah. It really sucks that
it does actually for the last couple of years there hasn't even been a debate. Like now, if you're a Ronaldo fan, you're like, all right, I'm back. Let me get back in here. I can fight for this.
Yeah. I just feel like now it's too bad that you don't see Messi like in Europe, because I do think that like the PSG thing was kind of a failure. I mean, every big play, that's another conversation that we could have. Every big player that's gone to PSG kind of flamed out, and now they're successful. I mean, you obviously have Luis Enrique, who's a great manager.
Oh my God. Him getting one was such a feel-good story.
Yeah, I agree. But Like at the same time, like, you know, Messi went there, didn't win a Champions League. You know, Neymar, Kylian Mbappe leaves for Real Madrid, who won last year, and then they lose this year. Right? Like it was an interesting situation. De
No,
Bruyne is
it is good. Yeah, it's
De
good.
Bruyne is going to Napoli. Like I feel like a lot of
That'll
people
be
are
fun, dude.
moving
Him and
towards-
McTominay in the midfield.
Yeah, well, Scott McTominay, another guy that you could talk about just because you're a United fan. Garnacho's gone. Like, what's the game plan here?
Garnacho's been horrible. Ruben Amorim looked at him and was like, "Never come back into this. Like, grab your stuff because this is the last time you'll ever be in this locker room." Which kind of rocks. Like, someone's got to do it. Which is a shame because I like Garnacho a lot. But he was really quite shocking. Scott McTominay, we never should have let walk, and he went to Napoli and was just absolutely outstanding. So, I mean, shout out him. Like,
he's playing his position. He might like win Player of the Year.
Yeah, he might. And I really, Scott McTominay, they can never make me hate you.
All right,
They never could.
Yeah.
That dude only scores the sickest goals ever.
That's true too. He literally like shows up in big games, and you know that's kind of all he does.
Yeah.
You know, in the field of golf, I think that this is really the last thing that we have. You know, that's been going on. I haven't watched enough NHL to really talk about it. I think the series is awesome, and I'm sure that I'll tune in at some point.
I hope the Panthers lose.
But I want Brad Marchand to win. No, I really want McDavid. All right, fair. But I want McDavid to win just because I think Connor McDavid is the best player in hockey. From what people tell me, it's not like I'm really watching.
Yeah, you're not watching.
But that being said, like I wouldn't be upset if Marchand won one. They're playing at what, Oakmont this weekend? Is it the Open Championship?
No, it's the US Open. I am so excited to watch this weekend, and this is one where if you like watching guys make birdies, turn your TV off, don't watch. People are saying that this is going to be the first US Open in a long time where the winner is plus in score.
Rory McIlroy shot an 81 in his in his practice round. An 81.
Dude, it is so hard to play on this course because you being a long hitter doesn't matter. Yeah. It's not a long course.
Yeah.
You just have to be able to putt on a dime. And it's like, if you don't like golf, you're going to hate this.
Right, because it's not as fun.
It's just like the NBA Finals series. If you really love golf, you are going to love this US Open, and I'm so excited. And really, it's one of those ones where it's like, who knows who's going to win? If you can put it on the green and then putt incredibly precisely, then you have a chance at winning, and if you can't, then you will miss the cut.
This is one of those like tournaments where like the casual fan of golf looks at it with his bowl of chips in his hands and goes,
it's like resting on his stomach, on his giant gut. It's gonna be me.
I could do that. I could shoot in the 80s like at this place, and it's like no,
like
you could. The grass is apparently like mad thick in the rough.
So the rough is actually so thick. The rough is so thick.
But yeah, it seems like it's going to be like you said, a golf fans tournament, and I'm excited to see it because you know I love a good playoff, and it kind of feels like this is one where you know you could have a playoff where everybody's like bogeying the playoff holes, which is pretty awesome. Pretty awesome. Like that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I'm certainly excited. Is Marvin Harrison Jr. ripped? Let's end on this. Is Marvin Harrison Jr. gonna be a top 5 receiver in the NFL this year?
I don't know. I don't think he's a top 5 quarterback, so probably not. I think he'll be better this year than the one singular like spark from fantasy that he had and then just disappearing for most of the rest of the season. But I don't see him being like crazy. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean D-Hop was pretty good with Kyler.
Yeah, he was fine.
I guess we'll see. Anyways, thank you for listening. We'll be back. We'll be back early next week to chat about the NBA Finals. But until then, as always, this has been the Corner Office, and I'm Jack Byrne.
And I'm Alex Benders.
Going to 3. Beef.